All right, so back with some more sociology. This time we're going to look a little bit at some of the gender expectations, okay? And let's jump right into this. You might remember this from the chapter one, chapter two, chapter three, and so on, right? But what I've done here is I've superimposed those norms and the culture, the laws, norms, and values, and as trying to impress upon everybody how these social institutions impact groups and individuals through the expectations of law, norms, and values. So I want to run through a research study that I came across a few years back, and I think you'll find it interesting. And and to do that, let me pull this up here real quick. All right, I already got it. So this is from the Pew Research Center, and again, they do a lot of different research projects and topics and that sort of thing. And this is a study that they came out in 2018. Strong men carrying women, how Americans describe. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you can see that. Maybe. Maybe. Not. Doesn't look like it's gonna get bigger for me. Oh, there it is. It's a little bit bigger. There we go. How Americans describe what society values and doesn't in each gender. So it's presented very nicely. So, what traits does society value most in men and in women? What traits does society say men and women should not have? So, I thought you'd find this interesting as it relates to what we were covering and what you'll see about um, fields of study and what kind of work people do and expectations again. You can see this is some information about this particular research project. So, all right. So they have these words, and if it's some traits were used more often in a positive sense as things society values most, to the right of the 50% line, that's where it says, I don't have my laser pointer on this one, but where it says positive right there. And then others were used more negatively as things society says men or women should not have, and that's to the left of the line. And so some words were used differently for men and women, and men are going to be in green and women are going to be in gold. And I'll keep reminding you of that. And so here is the first set that we're going to look at. For example, it says take a look at powerful right down here. Americans are much more likely to use powerful in a positive way to describe men, see, it's the positive side, than women. So society is saying that you don't associate the word powerful with women. As a matter of fact, it's not good for women to be powerful. Now think about that. So if we perceive the cultural expectations are like this, then how does that affect our behavior? I mean, what are the repercussions for women that go into occupations where they may have more power? I mean, the obvious examples I can think of here are elected office. Now, there have been a lot of changes in that. Women have assumed a lot of different positions of power and authority in Congress, but they've never been president of the United States, for example. There's been women that have run for president. And I think the thought is that it's going to happen soon, sooner than later. But as an example, I mean, women or people have a tendency to associate powerful, aggressive. Those are negative connotations when it comes to women in society. Okay. On the other hand, here, for example, men are not even associated, on the spectrum when it relates to beautiful. Okay. It's a very positive trait for women in society, which that might, affect, women's perception that they have to always look beautiful. I think women, most women attest to that. The social pressure and expectation of being beautiful all of that. These are both positive, honesty. These don't line up exactly over here, but we could we can make do. It looks like they're just under the word. Kind, most positively associated with female, but not as much so as it is with males. Or males are not as seen positive as it relates to being called kind or being perceived as having a trait of being kind as women do. What are we talking about here, right? Not only let me get my words accurate, but it's kind of unusual to think that that might be considered a bad thing for men. You don't want to be too kind. You don't want to be too nice. Women are not even on the list for provider. This is strong. Again, women, a little bit over half. Men are supposed to be strong. Women are supposed to be compassionate. Men are not. And then you see some other words there. So I'm going to scroll through because it's we're speaking about some of these before we scroll through. So I don't want to repeat it, but honest was used more than 200 times for men and around 100 times for women. I mean, positive. Okay. Let's look at a few other things here. I'm scrolling through because I know it's going to show us some more. Now then, here's some new words. In America, saw leadership and ambition as traits that society values more in men than in women. I mentioned that in elected office a while ago. So you can see here, women not supposed to be too ambitious. Very negative association of being masculine with females. Okay. Men, 50-50 split about being caring, not really supposed to be compassionate. I just find this extremely interesting. Hopefully you find it interesting too. And it's kind of eye-opening if you've not seen this and thought about it before. Okay, let's thumb through a few more here. Here's another set here. What was the last thing I said? And here are the words used primarily about women. Okay. These include multitasking, independent, and promiscuous, with multitasking seen positively and promiscuous seen negatively. I think, where are the women's numbers? There are the women's numbers. It looks like this website is getting kind of backwards here a little bit. Negative for women. Does it come up here? Well, these are for men. Okay, I'm sorry I'm scrolling around. Looks like this website has changed a little bit. Positive as being protector, provider, father, honorable. Not too emotional. That's a negative trait for men. Not supposed to be emotional. Men have no feelings. Of course, that's not true. And guys, it is okay to have feelings, of course, regardless of what social expectations are. And then we'll go back over to women. So, multitasking is positive. Women are supposed to be able to do many different things. Being independent, but 50-50 split. Promiscuous is not good. Right? Okay, so I hope you found that a little bit interesting, and just kind of a different look at some things. And we can look at the data and averages and the norms, but once you start making that connection with expectations, you can see how they feed off one another, and how in turn that might affect us as individuals and how we think that we're supposed to be. And it can, relate to things like the job that we go into or what we study in college and so forth. Okay. See you next time.